If you're avoiding something, you could schedule in 5 minutes of it and say, well, like if you're avoiding looking at some bills because you're afraid of them, your first step might be to schedule in 5 minutes where you just look at the bill.
It's unbelievable the degree to which our sanity depends on a functioning sociological structure. And here's why. Well, first of all, you kind of need to know what to do every day. You have to have a routine because you're an animal, And, if you have a dog or a cat, dogs are a really good example of this. Dogs like routine. They like to be walked the number of times a day that they're supposed to be walked. And they get quite sick very rapidly if you don't routinize their days. Children are exactly the same way. Now, you can overdo it, right? But still, you need to know approximately when you should get up. It should be approximately the same every day. You need to know approximately when you're going to eat. You need to know what you're going to eat. You need to know who you're going to eat with. You need to know where to buy your food. It's like 80% of your life, 70% of your life, something like that, consists of those things that you do every single day, that you repeat. And those are often the things that people think about as the trivial elements of their life, but one of the things I would like to point out to you, if you do the mathematics, I did this with a client of mine who was having a hard time putting his child to bed. They were having a fight every night. And I knew by that time, the studies indicate that most parents only spend 20 minutes per day of one-on-one time with their child.
Jordan Peterson is a psychologist and motivational speaker that can teach you how to become happy by fulfilling your daily tasks. He says that your sanity relies on your daily routine. By keeping a daily routine, it keeps you productive. So plan your days obsessively. Plan each hour, possibly each minute. Figure out your goal and aim for that every day. Schedule your activities accordingly. By practicing this daily, it will become a part of you. And when you attain this goal, it satisfies you. When you reach your daily goals, it will lead to daily happiness. So keep your mind and body busy by fulfilling your daily tasks and create a daily routine. And remember that every day might not be successful, but if you're trying hard to keep to that routine, then hopefully it will become a good habit.
Do you plan your day much, or your time generally? Does this lead to higher productivity? Yes, I plan my day obsessively. My calendar is always absolutely full and often weeks in advance. And I plan in the morning, especially when I'm on top of things. And I plan each hour, and I probably plan each minute. And yes, it leads to way higher productivity. You decide what your goals are going to be. You place them in the calendar. Use the calendar as your friend, Because what you want to do with the calendar is design a day that you want to have, or a day that would be good for you. And a day that would be good for you is one that you're, when you end the day, you feel that you've moved yourself ahead towards your valued goals and that you've kept chaos under control. And that enables you to sleep soundly and with a good conscience, and to know that the next day is going to be at least not worse than that day. Planning is unbelievably useful. And again, I don't want to sound like a broken record with regards to the future authoring program, but it really is useful. You need to figure out what it is that you're aiming at and why, and then you need to figure out how you're going to break that down over the months and the weeks and the days. But I would approach your calendar like it's your best friend. You think, okay, I'm going to design a week, man, that I really want to have. And that means you can schedule in leisure and all the things that you want to do, which you absolutely should do. And it's also quite fun to give yourself minimal time to do something complicated, because it's quite challenging to see if you can do far more than you thought in far less time.
I would relate that more to procedural memory. So what you've done is practice certain habits, whatever they might be. Let's call them bad habits. And you like those things to get under control, but you can't. So maybe when you're speaking, for example, you use like and and you say a lot. And you've practiced that, so you're really good at it. And you'd like to stop it, but you don't get to, because you've built that little machine right into your being, right? It's neurologically wired, and it's not under conscious control. And anything you practice becomes that. It becomes part of you, and that's another element of the unconscious, a different part. And then there's a creative part, which is that, you're sitting around and maybe you're trying to write something, or maybe you want to produce a piece of art or a piece of music, or maybe you're just laying in bed dreaming and you have all these weird ideas, and especially in dreams, it's like, where do those things come from? And even more strange, one of the things that's really weird about dreams, and almost impossibly weird, is that you're an observer in the dream. It's like a dream is something that happens to you. Well, you're dreaming it, theoretically, theoretically. So how is it that you can be an observer? It's almost like you're watching a video game or a movie, but you're producing it, at least in principle, although the psychoanalysts would say, well, no, not exactly. Your ego isn't producing it, your unconscious is producing it. It's a different thing. What those models say fundamentally is that if you're moving towards a target, a consumatory target, which would be specified by hypothalamic or other underlying motivational systems, or some combination of those, sometimes it can be a higher order goal, then anything that occurs while you're proceeding towards that goal that indicates that you're going to get it or move closer to it produces positive emotion. And that's mediated by the hypothalamic exploratory positive affect circuit that runs through the nucleus accumbens, and it basically runs on dopamine. Okay, so that's positive emotion, roughly speaking. It's positive emotion in relationship to incentive reward. What happens if you attain the goal, which is the consumatory reward, is it satisfies you. And that's also a form of reward, but it's not associated with as much positive emotion. It's more associated with the lack of necessity to do that anymore, so you're done with that, and that can be satisfying, and it does seem to be mediated by serotonin, which is basically a satiating agent among its other properties. Okay, so that's on the positive emotion end of things.
Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.